Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940 here, and today we're taking a look at Combat Pilot. It's got a demo out right now because of the Steam Next Fest. You can go ahead and try it from February 23rd to March 2nd. We look around, we're on the island of Midway, or the Midway Atoll. And there is a Japanese carrier back there, the Akagi, and there's an American carrier over here, the Enterprise. So there's no combat in this. This is just called the carrier qualification demo. So we're going to basically take off. We'll try out the flight model. We'll do a stall and maybe a spin, and then we'll go land on the carrier. So let's go ahead and get started. You can hit E to automatically turn the plane on. Alright, now if we look around while this is starting up here, oops, let's get the tail wheel lock going and hold the brakes. Some of the textures are kind of blurry, and I've had people report back even the gauges were blurry, but mine's pretty clear, and I think that's maybe just because of my system spec, because I think all these textures eventually load in, but they do take some time, like that red switch there, or that red sign with the panel for the switch in the middle of it, and then the hookup stuff is a little blurry, but over time I think it comes into focus as it loads in. And I'm getting 60 FPS here on the island, but some other people have reported back on like more average systems that they're getting like 20 or 30 FPS, so your mileage may vary. You may need to adjust your graphics setting. I have everything on ultra, but I've got a crazy system just for recording stuff. I like to record in 4K, and you definitely need a beefy system for that. Alright, so enough yapping, let's go ahead and take off, throttle up. Get some of that rudder in. Alright, we should be able to lift off here. We'll gear up, and then let's also hit the canopy. And flaps are not down, so not an issue. Alright, so I've got basically like the full simulation setup that you can have for the difficulty, so you can overheat the engine, that kind of thing, and there's no automatic helping of rudder inputs or anything like that. So this is the Enterprise. I think we'll climb to like maybe, I don't know, 5,000 feet or something, and then we'll go do a stall and some spins, and then we'll go back and land on this guy here. This will probably make you lose your wings if you tried this for carrier qualification. Ooh, that looks really good though. Alright, we'll go zoom climb. So as this thing infers, this is a carrier qualification demo, so you don't get to do any combat. You can do this stuff also with the Zero if you'd like. I just want to try this F4 out. And yeah, this is made by Entropy Aero, which is headed by a guy named Jason Williams, which if you guys follow flight simulators and stuff in the past, you'll know that he was I think he was the CEO of 777 Studios, which did work with 1C to produce IL-2 Battle Stalingrad, I think, and maybe some other titles. So he's not new to flight sims, and obviously he has a true passion for it, and he wants to make a combat flight simulator for the Pacific Theater with really high quality standards. And this definitely, the way the flight model feels in here, this definitely shows that he does truly care about it. Like, I've never felt, when I first spun this plane, I was amazed at how smooth it felt, and the stalls I think are really nice. You get the feedback in this aircraft with vibrations and stuff like that, and parts, you can see there the switches and things are all really crystal clear now. So I think people that have the issue with the blurry gauges, I think if you kind of wait a little bit, it comes into focus. Not sure what's going on there for some, but yeah, my gauges are clear, but sometimes the other things in the cockpit are blurry at first. Anyways, yeah, this will be a combat flight sim for the Pacific Theater of Operations, and it's one that I've always wanted. We haven't really had much in this way of combat flight simulators since well, I think Pacific Fighters in IL-2 1946, had its iteration of Pacific Fighters in it. Before that, we had Combat Flight Simulator 2, which was focused on the Pacific Theater, but you couldn't fly any torpedo bombers. You could only fly dive bombers, I think, and fighter planes. And then, yeah, I didn't try the other ones. I think it was a game called Pacific Air War. Never tried that when I was younger. So yeah, it is a welcome change to have a Pacific Theater as a backdrop for a combat flight sim. DCS, of course, is putting out. They've got the Corsair out and the Marianas map. Right now, there's no like actual Zeros or Japanese planes in the game yet. They've teased it in videos, and I think there's going to be another World War II asset pack for the Pacific stuff. And of course, the Hellcat is still in development. It's been in development for a while. So, all right, we're at 6,000 feet. Let me pull the throttle back, and well, the sounds are great. You can hear the engine there as I throttle back. Get the back blast there. All right, so hear the plane shaking. See the gauge is shaking, and eventually you'll feel when you get past that critical angle of attack right there. I can feel the aircraft sliding, which is really neat. All right, and if I'll let go of it. There we go. One thing I don't like is, I don't know if you caught it there, is it's pretty jarring once that stall is over with. The sound and the vibration effects stop immediately. I think there should be some natural resonance and something vibrating, and it should play out and just be subdued and stop at that point. That's just like the one thing that I find pretty jarring, but it feels really good. I haven't felt that in other planes doing stalls where you can feel yourself flowing through kind of in an uncontrolled manner while you lose lift. All right, and then we'll do another one with get ourselves into a pretty nasty spin. All right, so we'll throttle back, hold the elevator up. Start putting in some rudder here. Here we go. All right, there it is. This just feels so good to get into. This is awesome. All right, we are falling and spinning, so let's fix this situation here. Oh, too far. There we go. We lost like thousands of feet there. Okay, well that puts us kind of perfectly in line with trying to land on the Enterprise. Alright, I'm going to say I am not the best at doing carrier landings in previous titles, but we'll see how we do here. The first try I ever had at this demo, I landed on it pretty smoothly, so I hope we'll be able to replicate that success. We're going pretty fast right now, actually. I think we're going like 200 knots. So, throttle's back. Lead off some speed. Open the canopy. Get the hook out. Alright, let's do our brake turn. Get our gear down. Get our flaps down. Alright, we're at 100 knots. 90 knots. Lost a lot of speed there. We have to be careful. Around like 80, 85 is we're at risk of stalling. So I think in the World War II carrier landing patterns, they didn't go into like the groove or anything. They basically, once they got out of this turn, they were over the flight deck. I can tell you I'm not doing that because I'm not that talented. I still need some time to stabilize my approach and get in there. Let's see if we can hook it in. Alright, we got our hook down, gears down, flaps down. We think we're good here. Just kind of watch our airspeed. But the way that you get the feedback from the vibrations of the aircraft, it feels so good to kind of know how close you are to stalling. Alright, here we go. Let's just cut the throttle and... Alright, nice. Ooh, boy, that was good. Didn't want to crash on camera there. Oh, yeah. There's no pilot in Combat Pilot, which is kind of funny. But hopefully we get to see one. But I don't think we're going to see one for the demo. This was would have been cool to actually see that or toggle it on and off. Oh, yeah, anyways, the detail on the ship is just crazy. Like, this is good enough detail to be like a first-person viewpoint sort of game on the ship. Like, the windows are up and some of them are partially up and some of them are down, or you can see the consoles in there, where the flag bags are. I mean, just amazing detail. Yeah. I'm excited to play this when there's actual combat, and imagine this flight deck being filled with like 50 planes behind you and you're packed away in the front here and you got to take off. So let's go ahead and try that, see how we fare. We have to put our hook up, actually. That would be a good thing here. You can see the hook is... Oh. Hope we didn't accident. I have seen this kind of glitch where it pulls the nearest cable up with it, but alright. Just throttle all the way up. Alright, let's go. Let it drop. Let it drop. Build some speed. There we go. Alright, nice. Climbing away at 100 knots almost. Alright, let's go back to Midway. Our carrier qualification is done. The water looks so good. I love it when games actually model... If you look really closely here, the way the water's just different gradients of blue, and they're kind of... It almost looks like an oil sheen, but it's not quite. It's just... that's just the way the light's hitting the water, and plus there's different stuff in the water, so it's not going to look all uniform. So when games make them all naturally or all uniformly blue, it just really is not how water looks. And things also flow in different current speeds, so you kind of see these streaks going through it, which is really neat. But this game kind of captures that. And the waves breaking on the reef is super awesome as well. So we are now very familiar with Midway because this is where Task Force Admiral's demo, or not demo, their game released into early access with the Midway scenario. So it's actually pretty cool to be able to fly a fighter with this much fidelity in it today for this demo. I think that is where the seaplane base is, the Catalinas. We're going to go back to this island here, which would have had like B-17s and Brewster Buffaloes and Wildcats, as well as some B-26s, I think. Alright. It's the Akagi. Oh man, imagine that sight if that just showed up off the off the coast there. We won't need it, but we'll actually, yeah, let's not land on that very long runway. Let's land on this this one coming off to our left here. Alright, so you got your F3 camera, and you got a GoPro camera. I think it's F11. Yeah, you got different spots here. Let's cycle through. Our external camera, of course, and our tethered camera. Alright. Bring it in. 85 knots. Look at the waves. They look so good. Alright. And then we touch down. Okay. Sweet. So you can unlock the tail wheel if you want to get around with better ground handling, but I wanted to show you guys this thing really quick before we go. So let's get our flaps up. Once we get our flaps up, then we can hit W, and that will cause the wing to fold in, which is really nice looking. Actually, what key was it? 1 second, I need to find this control. I thought I knew it. Airframe, wing fold. It was W. Why is it not folding up? Okay, we're back. I thought I was going crazy, but yeah, I had done that, but the engine was off, so I had to basically just cut the throttle, and now we got our wings folded. But look at the detail on this thing. Like, you can see how the airframe's constructed, basically. It's just nuts. And I always say this in my videos with military aircraft. I like the scratches and stuff like that. I like the imperfect paint jobs because these are warbirds, and you know, in the middle of a war, they are being used, and they're not getting cleaned up and painted every damn day. So this is really neat to see. Yeah, that was Combat Pilot, the demo. You can try it yourself. It's free, so go ahead and get it on Steam. I'll link it in the description. And hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll get to them as soon as possible. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.